you could wave our trauma right in front of my face and I'd be like, huh, a normal Tuesday. Hi everyone, this is Sometimes Misa and this is Vesper and this is my Meet the Alters video. I think it's interesting that I'm the person to do this. I think I've streamed maybe once. What is your name? My name is Vesper. There's not really anything interesting about my name. I didn't really choose it for any specific reason. I just liked the name. I have been through a few fusions, which I might get into at some point, and Vesper has been one of the alters throughout all of those fusions, and it's just a name I've kept. So I've had that name for as long as I've existed, and there's not really anything special about it. What is your gender identity, pronouns, and sexuality? I identify, I guess, the closest to the idea of being a demigirl, but generally I am still quite connected to being a female, and it doesn't bother me that we as a body identify as female and present as a female. I am well aware of my own gender identity and like how that works for me. Like I know that I kind of feel like a girl plus something else. There's a little additional extra, but it doesn't bother me. It's not important to me that that's like massively expressed in who we are. It just doesn't. I don't know, it's like a bit of an extra spice rather than the main meal, if that makes sense. Pronouns wise, I use she, they. I did used to use they, her. I used to prefer they, them a lot more. Now, I don't really care. She, they is what I'm like most comfortable with. And my sexuality, I am bisexual. It's not like a big part of my role. That might sound very contradictory to a host, but we're not in a relationship. We haven't been in a relationship for a long time. And it's not like a part of my part of the brain. I know what I'm attracted to, like what type of men I'm attracted to. I know what type of women I'm attracted to, but it's not like my defining feature. There are some alters in our system who are very certain on their sexuality, and it's a large part of who they are, usually because it's largely connected to their role. And for me, maybe it's just how a person feels about sexuality. It can be really hard as a system to kind of figure out what's like normal and what's not normal. So I don't know if this is just what normal people feel about their sexuality, like that it's just like a added little extra thing and it's not like important to them. I don't know. I really don't know. Are you an ANP, EP, or both? I am an ANP, pretty much through and through. We have had hosts in the past who are like a mixture of both, and I'm no idea. When I was formed as a very strict ANP, and I've definitely developed a little bit closer to having more connection to. And I wouldn't say, because EPs aren't like emotions. I can feel emotions, but I am very, very disconnected from our trauma. Like severely disconnected from our trauma. You could wave our trauma right in front of my face and I'd be like, huh, a normal Tuesday. It's not connected to me in any aspect. And I've definitely gotten better with therapy that I'm a little bit less, a really little, like a smidge less disconnected, but I am an MP through and through. I deal with most of our everyday stuff, and I have no, like, connection to trauma memories and stuff like that. I don't have any emotional attachment to any of our trauma memories. They don't cause me any emotional distress. They're just there. Whereas a lot of our EPs are constantly distressed by them, and a lot of our mixed parts, like our past host was a mixed part, they generally can function, but they're still easily distressed by that trauma. I'm just never distressed by the trauma. It can sometimes affect me if people are co-conscious and subconsciously influencing me, but I don't, like on an alter level, I don't feel that emotional connection to our trauma. What is your role? I have quite a few. I am our current primary host. I'm also a current primary protector, which I know that may seem a little odd to some people, maybe. And it is a little bit odd when I became host, because like I said, I've not been host for our whole life or anything like that. I'm actually quite recently. I've been co-hosting since probably about 2023 maybe 2023, but I didn't start hosting until 2025, so early 2025 really, and before that I was very, very active in my co-hosting. So it might seem a bit odd to people that I'm also a primary protector, but I think the way to look at it is our brain has decided that protection needs to be a forefront thing rather than a subconscious thing, for whatever reason. And I'm not exactly privy to that information, but I know that enough because I know what my role is as a protector, and I know that I am sort of... The best way I can explain my primary protectiveness is I am a wall. my therapist has called me a guardian, which is also a role we use in our system that I also have. And yeah, I'm a wall. I'm a wall of emotion and connection and dissociation. Like I'm a wall of dissociation, I guess, specifically from emotions and connections of trauma. So for whatever reason, our brain has decided that wall needs to be more forward, which is interesting. And I do think at some point I will stop being host and I will go back to my role as primary protector instead. But I think that will depend on our healing journey and how we figure out what actually caused that change and work on it. I think that's probably when I'll stop being host. But yeah, I do have many co-hosts. I'm not like a... I front the most by a long shot. I front every day, probably. I am what we use terms in our system like this, and I really enjoyed this term for our host. I think it would be better to understand for people who don't know DID well, is that we call our hosts our automatic fronters. And that basically just means if there's no other triggers, if there's nothing that is bringing an all to front, and there is nothing that needs the brain to be dissociated and blah blah, our host will just front. That's kind of me. I'm automatic front, which just means generally I do front every day. But a lot of our co-hosts, so Harley, Misa, and Mary are our co-hosts currently. We've had a few in and out, but they're our main co-hosts. They will front to support sometimes, but then will also front to do their own things. They all have their own things that they'll all talk about, but that just generally means I don't do everything. There's actually quite a lot of things that I don't do, but I just exist. Like, if we just need to exist. Outside of that, I'm also a primary protector. I've got into a bit of detail about my type of protection is, but I also, due to my primary protector role, I have a somewhat gatekeeper-esque role. I would never call myself a fully-fledged gatekeeper, but I definitely have more control over our fronting area than any other alters, past hosts, co-host, anything like that, other than our actual main gatekeepers. I have a very good awareness of our front. I wouldn't say I have a very good awareness about inner world or our amnesia or anything like that, but I have a very good awareness of our front. I can usually tell who's in front with me. I can usually have pretty good control in not forcing people out of front, but allowing myself to front. So I might not be able to, let's say Harley and myself are fronting and we're co-fronting. I am capable enough of in front to push myself further into front or take a further step back out of front. I'm not capable of fully pushing Harley anywhere. Harley's there. But usually if I push myself closer to front, other people will back off because that's just how the brain works for us. It's not common that we'll have more than 2 people co-fronting, so yeah. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't call myself a gatekeeper, but I definitely do have more control in that aspect than non-gatekeepers do. That might be a guardian thing, which again, we have a role that I would call like mini gatekeepers, so maybe that's better for me. Called guardians, and guardians for us is any form of alter who usually they look after and protect a certain part internally, like a part of our inner world, a group of altars or something, like a subsystem sometimes, depending on the altar, and they guard and protect and have more control over that area. And for me, that's like a perfect example, but I do that for the front. So it's not like an inner world thing. It's not like I have a specific group of altars that I look after and protect. I'm specifically protecting the front. I used to have a lot better control of that when I wasn't constantly hosting. But hey ho, I guess the brain's decided this is where I should be now. I think that's the best ways to explain my roles. What do you look like internally? I look pretty much like this. I tried my best. I have like, my hair's a bit complex. I have like a long like hime cut, like the girl in Kakaguri. It's always what I think of when I think of that cut. I have that kind of cut, but a little bit more like layered and like ragged, kind of like this hair. I have purple eyes. I wouldn't know anything about my height or anything like that, or like what I specifically look like. That's not like a clear view for us. I think you would have seen a bit of me if you watched our Make the Altars in The Sims, but I don't particularly like how I made myself look. I have a kind of somewhat grungy style, but mixed in with like dark academia is maybe the best way to describe it. I don't know, I like my style. I have like a style that is the least reflected in our external world. I just don't choose to dress like it anymore. I used to when I first formed, like very early days, like before I had any fusions and I was just Vesper. I dyed our hair bright red. And to this day, everyone, like people from our family, people from like our friends know it as my goth phase. And I had no clue I existed at that point, which is quite funny. And I ended up like backing off from like being around hosting, and then fusions happened, I became Private Protector, and then I started hosting again. But it's always quite funny. I don't really try and make the body look like me. It's too much effort. It's too much effort. I don't connect it up to this body anyway. Like, it's just a body. I just dress as. Otherwise, I don't even dress as. This is a lot of Harley's job. So, I'm probably the least reflected in our external look, but that's generally what I look like internally. What are your interests and hobbies? I like music. Love music. I listen to. I probably don't love music as much as other people in our system, but I do love music. I probably have a more like. I don't know what I'd call my style of music. Maybe like grungy rocky kind of music style. I obviously enjoy playing games. That's quite like a big thing you'll notice throughout a lot of our system. I enjoy making graphics. I'm not like very good at it. It's still a skill I'm trying to learn, but I generally quite enjoy messing around and making like our thumbnails and editing our videos. I don't know much about it yet. I'm still learning a lot, but I enjoy it. I also enjoy system mapping. For me personally, I will admit, I'm a bit of a control freak. So I'm gonna stop that question. Am I? What was I? Oh no. What would I say? Oh yeah. Yeah, I enjoy system mapping. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so for me personally, I find system mapping helps me feel a sense of control in a life where I don't feel controlling. I think as well for me, I am so severely dissociated from our trauma, it just doesn't affect me. I've had system friends who just simply can't system map because it triggers them so much, and that's totally valid, and I understand that system mapping is not a thing for every system, but it definitely has helped. But it's definitely helped us discover things. It's also helped me a lot in... I think when I started being host, and my way of primary protecting changed quite a lot, I very much struggled with almost this sudden just loss of control that I felt, even though, and that might sound weird because, well, Vesper, you're fronting all the time. You have the most control of the body, and it's like, well, yes, but I have like the least. I don't have the least. I have a lot less internal control than I used to, and I was so used to. I had internal control for years. Like, I have been on primary protector since about 2021, and a large amount of my primary protecting was having control and having control over our front and overseeing our front and watching our front and having the control of knowing who was in front and helping get people out and get people in and stuff like that. So having that kind of all, like, I still have some of that power, but having that all taken away from me and kind of just being put into a role I don't feel like I fit really, really messed with me and really made me feel very, very out of control of my own life, which it's been hard. So I think that's why I system map so much. Like, that's a common thing I think a lot of my friends will know about me. To me, it's where I gain my control back. Favorite games, if you have any. I have lots of favorite games, actually. I play pretty much all our games. Not all of them. We have lots of other alters who play them, but I probably play games the most. My favorite game series, and it will always be my favorite game series, is Danganronpa. I love Danganronpa. That is not an uncommon thing in our system. Our past host loved Danganronpa. I love Danganronpa. I actually have one of my fusions was too effective out of Danganronpa. They were only a fragment, so it didn't really, it still impacted me a lot, but they were only really a fragment at the time that they existed. But they are my favorite character, and I love the game more than anything. Like, it's probably my favorite game in the entire world. I love the Somnium Files. That's a great game. That's very similar, made by the same kind of company. With their, I love Phasmophobia. I have an unhealthy obsession with Phasmophobia. We have 600 hours in Phasmophobia. We play it like weekly with one of our friends, and I love that game. It's like, for a horror game, it's so chill, and it's probably like my most relaxed game. I just love it so much. I love Repo. I actually really enjoy Repo. I don't play enough Repo because I don't know, I just don't. I should play it on my own. I should. Because I love Repo. I don't know. I like thinking. I'm a very strategic thinker, or at least I try to be. I like any game that I can force myself to think strategically in. I play a lot of Genshin Impact. And also Star Rail. Personally, this will be an unpopular opinion against our system. I prefer Star Rail. But I do enjoy them both. I just enjoy the way Star Rail functions. And I enjoy how you build characters in Star Rail and how you fight with them in Star Rail. I think it's, to me, a little bit more enjoyable, but I do love Genshin puzzles, and I kind of prefer the Genshin storyline, maybe, probably, yeah, probably. But generally, for me, any sort of like detective-based game is like my favorite game in the entire world, or any sort of like strategic detective game. I think they're probably my main favorites. What content are you excited to make? For me personally, I am the most excited to make this kind of content, like the actual DID based content. Not because I don't like streaming, but I don't like streaming. It stresses me out. I am well aware that out of everyone in our system, I am not the most entertaining. And I don't like having to sit there and try and entertain. I love a structure. Just anything with structure is so much better than to me. So having a video structure where you like sit down and you know what you're answering and you've got like a 15-minute video and you have to edit it. I love it. I love it so much more than sitting for 5 hours and streaming. It just doesn't appeal to me. Part of the reason I made this channel, because I am someone where it doesn't appeal to me to pretend to be something else. So spending our entire life just not being, like, I'm hosting now and having to go around pretending that I'm not me. And the funny sad thing is that I'm nothing like what our masks the world is. and it's getting tiring. It's getting very tiring. It's not, I don't have the energy to put up with this. My brain's doing more things than trying to sit here and pretend to be our past host and now Misa, and it's just not worth it. So I think for me, I'm the most excited about this kind of content. Definitely the educational content. I mean, I don't plan on being educational, because I'm not, but I plan on being more structured content, I guess is a better word than education. I'm more excited for that kind of content. I'm excited as well to hopefully have this help with our system communication. I'm hoping that it will open doors for alters who want to do this kind of stuff. And I'm also hoping that even if it doesn't open doors that they want to do it, that we'll get more opportunities like we have in the last few weeks of people saying, I don't want to do that. Because yay, communication. So that's kind of what I'm most excited for. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hoped you enjoyed getting to know me more. I don't know how long this is going to be, but I hope it's not too long. And I hope that you come back for more and that you can finally see who we are and not just what we try to be. If that makes sense to anyone. It's lovely meeting you all. It's lovely meeting you guys properly. And I hope you enjoyed meeting me. Bye guys.